Good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to SEC Football Live here from the 440 Sports Network and that SEC podcast. Michael Bratton, Braden Gall here. Go over to the YouTube page that I've got, by the way. I know everybody here subscribes to your page, Michael. Great content every single day. But if you want to head on over to the 440 Sports YouTube page, we have game previews that are up with Stephen Lasson and myself. I know big fan of you're a big fan of Stephen Lasson. I've now mentioned his name twice on the show, which means you can't say his name. So how are you, big guy? Good to see you, man.
Oh, doing good. My time in the woods is coming to the end. I couldn't be damn happier. The only downside is, that means the season is coming to an end, but
Yeah.
plenty of great games here to close out. And now, what appears to be nothing finalized, of course, but it appears we're going to get one hell of an SEC championship. Last year was kind of a dud. So I think this year is going to be an epic one.
So we can start there. I was going to start with MIZ. And start with Missouri and say that even in a defeat on the road at Georgia, I think they proved that they belonged in the game. They looked like as good a football team as I've seen in this conference. And I was going to start there, but I think you're right that the main point, and people are already talking about it here, and this is not meant to be disrespectful to Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU, Tennessee, plenty of good football teams in this league. But the only one that can beat Georgia this year is Alabama. And Alabama keeps getting better. We're going to get to the hit on Jaden Daniels because
Wait a second. Did you say
I'm sort of confused on it?
Did you say Alabama's the only one that could beat Georgia?
I think so. They keep getting better and better every single week. They are better than Texas. They are better than Texas. And
Alabama. Yeah, Alabama keeps getting better for sure.
Alabama keeps getting better every single week. And in a year that's doesn't have that Joe Burrow dominant LSU team. It doesn't have that Georgia dominant team. It doesn't have that Trevor Lawrence dominant team, or even the Alabama teams from 11 and 12 and 2020. In a year that's much more wide open for the national title, wouldn't it just be a motherfucker if Nick Saban just took a ragtag bunch of 3 stars and
think
built
Ole
them
Miss
up to a national championship?
I think Ole Miss could beat Georgia. And I'm starting to come around to Tennessee as well because they're playing better and better every week as well.
So two questions for you. One is 2 things I wanted to get to on the show this week is a lot around Alabama and some of it. How many teams in the SEC have gotten better throughout the course of the year that are playing their best football right now today? And I think Missouri's been at the same level the entire year. I think Alabama is playing its best football right now today. But I think I could argue Tennessee. I think I could argue Tennessee has gotten better throughout the course of the year, certainly since the Florida loss. They to me have gotten better almost every week, and that includes a loss to Alabama. So I don't disagree with you. I think Ole Miss has gotten better for the most part throughout the course of the year. So who's playing their best ball right now in the SEC? And take Bama out of the equation, and maybe Georgia.
Yeah, I was going to say Bama, then I was going to say Georgia, but after that, Ole Miss, yeah, Missouri, Tennessee. I think those are the only ones really. LSU offense, but that's not a defense, a different story. So
yeah,
I think those are, and hell, maybe even Arkansas.
I was kidding about the Bama 3 stars, by the way, Bo. No, I just think that wouldn't it be just the most goddamn Saban thing ever to just in a year where it's kind of more wide open with a team that's clearly not as good as some of his teams in the past, to take a guy in Jalen Milroe and make him and turn him into a star as the season goes along. They get better and better and better and better and better and better because they are 5 stars and it is Nick Saban. And all of a sudden, Georgia just sort of was Georgia the entire year. Like, I feel like Georgia's just been Georgia, which is pretty damn good, but just Georgia. And, go into Atlanta, beat Georgia, go into the playoff, beat an Ohio State team that doesn't look special, or a Washington team that might be one-dimensional, and all of a sudden they're in the national championship game. Like, I wouldn't put it past them, man.
Yeah, but what's interesting about what you said there, and I don't disagree, but you're saying this is not one of his better teams. Well, whose fault is that? And the staffing, that's on him. So we can't sit here and on one hand and say this is a masterful job, and at the same time say this is not one of his better teams. Well, why isn't it? That's on him.
Is it Josh Heupel's fault that Joe Milton's not as good as Hendon Hooker? I think you have to acknowledge that rosters change and that good players leave.
Right, but he gets whoever the hell he wants essentially out of the high school ranks. He got the 2 top players out of Georgia last year they're just coming off back-to-back national champions. So we can't sit here and say, well, man, this ain't the Alabama of old. I mean, that's on him, isn't it?
Well, but it sure as hell looks like it is. I mean, like, I think if you expect a team to be national championship good every single season, that's never been done. No one's ever done that. Saban's never won 3. Kirby's trying to do something this year that's never been done before. And there's a reason it's never been done before, because it's really, 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 really hard. And he's not the only one who gets 5 stars at every position. So does Ohio State.
No. I'm talking Nick Saban.
Georgia. Right, but he's never won 3. No one's ever done that. And so it because rosters change. You lose the Heisman Trophy winner and the most productive quarterback in Alabama history, and then the guy who replaces him, who's only started 1 game in his career, starts in the second game of his career against a really good Texas team at home and happens to lose, and then gets so much better as the season goes along. That's Nick Saban doing his job. Like, I don't see how that's a knock. Like, I don't understand.
Well, I just don't think you can use the argument that this is not his best team, not his best coaching staff, when he's solely responsible for who's on the team and who's in his coaching staff. That's all I'm saying. But to your point, I don't know if you've seen this stat, Braden. Ole Miss, A&M, Tennessee, and LSU.
Yeah, I'm the one who fucking tweeted it out. No one credited me.
Alabama outscored them 82-13.
Second half. Yeah, I'm the one who tweeted it out.
That's championship football right there.
Nobody credited me. It's okay. It's okay. My feelings aren't hurt though. It's fine. What was it? 17 to 3 against LSU, 27-0 against Tennessee. They have dominated in the second half in those games against all the best teams. They've dominated. I think they would be favored, not heavily, but I think they'd be favored over Texas right now pretty easily. I talked to some folks in Vegas, probably a 4 or 5 point favorite over Texas, which again doesn't mean anything, but it's just sort of a state.
I think they were favored last time too.
Yeah, favored by 7. Again, is Alabama the same team as they were in week number 2? And they're not. They're clearly better. And I think they're capable of beating Georgia. It's the first time I felt that way in the entire season. I've never felt that they were capable of beating Georgia. I thought Ole Miss or Tennessee could do it. But this is the first time I felt that Alabama could go into that championship game and win that game, playing their own style, because they've got Michael Vick at quarterback. and Tommy Rees, for all of his flaws, he's been hinting at this, and the guys hit deep shots. He's designed really good deep shots throughout the course of the season, and he deployed the quarterback run as we asked him to in the biggest game of the season, and Jalen Milroe had an extraordinary game. Like, we'll get to Dallas Turner in a second. I'm confused about Dallas Turner and Alabama fans, but I don't know, man. This is a team that it just would be the most Nick Saban thing of all time to win a national championship or knock off Georgia with a team that he had to work extra hard to get to maximize. And I don't see how that's somehow you're blaming him for that. Like, I don't understand. Like, sometimes you have a young team. So, And Michael's right. Michael was right here, by the way. Maybe the bad LSU defense is messing with my brain. But you know what? LSU beat Missouri on the road, and I just saw Missouri play Georgia on the road in Athens, and they looked largely equal to Georgia, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Missouri's better. I'll spin it back to your argument. They're better today. That's a good point. No, than they were when they lost to LSU.
Yeah.
That would be how I'd spin that. But
I mean, didn't you see a Missouri team? And we're bouncing around here, but didn't you see a Missouri team that just looked like a completely good like a complete and good football team, like we said last week on the show? Like, they're just a good team all the way around.
And some questionable calls. I'm just saying. I mean, there was questionable calls. I don't think that cost Missouri the game, but it sure as hell didn't help.
No, Missouri also got a couple of 50-50 PI calls on their side as well. So I think the questionable calls thing goes both ways, which I guess we can get to the Dallas Turner hit. I'm confused by Alabama fans complaining about, or LSU fans, excuse me, complaining about the refs with the Dallas Turner situation. Like, it was a penalty. Yes, he absolutely should have been ejected. Yes, he did the same thing to Quinn Ewers last year. Like, I don't disagree with any of that. But how does that change the game? I don't understand how that changes the game. Like, Jaden Daniels doesn't you kick Dallas Turner out of the game for targeting, right? Like, you review it and you kick him out of the game. that doesn't bring Jaden Daniels back into the game. Like, I don't understand. I'm confused. People were like, oh, the refs are in Alabama's pocket. The SEC's trying to get Alabama into the championship and like all that same old bullshit. And I don't understand. Like, they called it a penalty. Am I missing something here? Like, I'm genuinely confused.
I mean, when you define targeting, I feel like that's targeting.
Yeah. Okay.
But they didn't call targeting.
Well, but they called it a penalty. It was a 15-yard penalty.
Right. And they also, at the same time, I don't know why no one talks about this, they just obliterated the receiver. No call. Same play.
Okay.
And then how about Jaden Daniels' last possession, first half? They pulled him down from the back. No penalty.
Stick with the targeting.
We got a less egregious one against Jalen Milroe on third down. Oh,
well, no, Harold Perkins was more egregious. He grabbed him by both collars. Stick with just the Dallas Turner penalty here. What I'm trying to understand.
Well, you're saying how is this just slanted? Why was everyone talking about the rest? Because this play after play after play, same play, no penalty here, penalty there. The classic targeting. Not targeting. Not targeting. Not at all.
Motherfucking fans, you lazy assholes.
Let's just let them blast a quarterback in the face.
It is. I'm not disagreeing with the targeting. He should have been ejected. How does that change the game? I don't understand. Jaden Daniels is out.
Because without Jaden Daniels, LSU's probably like 6-6, and with him,
okay, but he's not going to get
healthy. One of the best teams in the country.
But he's not automatically healthy. If Dallas Turner out of the game, like I don't understand how that.
Well, this is why the NFL protects these quarterbacks, because they're so valuable to the game, and as soon as you disable one, I mean, it's
deep on the refs.
Yeah, I mean,
that's funny.
I don't want to see it, but I mean, my God, what's going to happen next year? I mean, LSU may be looking to hurt Bama's quarter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't like that aspect of it.
I completely agree with you. I am not arguing with you on that or any of the fans. Like, he should have been kicked out of the game. There's no question. Should have been kicked out of the game. I watched the Rutgers Ohio State game, and the Ohio State player. The play that changed the game, the safety runs up and hits the running back right in the head, and there's no penalty called. I don't think the refs are in the pocket. The SEC, Greg Sankey's not like, hey, head of officials, make sure you call all the penalties on LSU. Do you realize how stupid that is? It is impossible for that to be a thing that happens. No, it is impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible.
That I would agree, but other things I think are egregious, and no one calls them out. Like Alabama having to go to Kentucky. Let's make that a noon game. You know, the COVID year, who'd they give Saban right out the gate? They gave him first-year drink. Who'd they give Georgia first week out? First Sam Pittman. Florida was really good that year. Let's give them Lane Kiffin.
You hate Nick Saban so much. It's okay.
No, I mean,
it's okay.
Just
admit it.
They're
just admit it.
enabling the teams that are going to win a championship, and they don't do anything for the others.
That's the Big Ten.
But to your point,
Big Ten's doing that with Michigan.
You know what decided the Alabama game? I mean, this is obvious, I thought, is LSU's piss poor defense. And
yes.
Dallas Turner, the really good play he made when he tipped the pass and Bama intercepted it. You know, in a game where defenses were struggling to get a stop, a turnover was huge. Those are the two things that define that game, not a quarterback getting hurt.
I'm okay with saying that the reason the LSU Tigers lost the game is that Jaden Daniels couldn't finish the game. I don't know how throwing Dallas Turner out of the game makes Jaden Daniels healthy. I don't, Rory, you don't make any sense, dude. Like, I'm not trying to be rude here. It absolutely matters if the quarterback misses games. It was absolutely a targeting penalty. He absolutely should have been kicked out of the game. Okay, all of that happens. Jaden Daniels still can't fucking walk. So, like, I don't know what are you saying that penalty is affecting future games next year? And if you want to say that, that's fine. I agree with you guys.
What if they lose to Florida this week?
Agree.
I mean,
okay. That's on
Dallas Turner, sir.
How does that? Yes, you're correct. But how does Dallas Turner being ejected make Jaden Daniels healthy? I don't understand.
He should have to sit out till Jaden Daniels is back. Kick
him out
rule.
For the whole season. That's great. It doesn't change the fact that Jaden Daniels' head is a fucking ball of mush right now. Like it doesn't.
Well, it would maybe get those hits out of the game if we actually penalize people for doing them.
Rory, I agree with you guys. I agree. Kick him out of the game. That doesn't change. Garrett Nussmeier. So Dallas Turner's off the field. All of a sudden, Garrett Nussmeier is going to go 14 of 14 and lead touchdown drives. Is that what's going to happen?
I think he was scared to get his head hit if he had a good pass.
What are you guys talking about?
It makes sense if you think about it. It makes sense.
Okay, I agree. The Dallas Turner targeting doesn't matter to the outcome of the game. I agree. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, we're on the same page then.
Yeah, we all agree he should have been kicked out of the game. But what I don't, you can't then make the next step and be like, well, but if he gets ejected, Jaden Daniels is all of a sudden healthy, back out on the field, running for hundreds of more yards and winning the game. Like they're not connected. Unfortunately, he got hit illegally. He should have been kicked out of the game. He should have been kicked out of the game. That doesn't make Jaden Daniels healthy.
I'm glad we agree. Dirty play there. I thought
1,000,000%. I totally agree. And the fact that we've got evidence that he did the exact same thing to Quinn Ewers makes it even more obvious that he should have been kicked out of the game.
And Jackson Dart, multiple things.
Sure. But again, that doesn't bring Jaden Daniels back onto the field, which is the only way LSU can win the game.
I'm starting to think Saban coaches him to do this.
Who, me?
No. Dallas Turner.
Well, who knows about that.
I speculate. That's speculation.
Yeah, speculation's fun.
What Braden told me off air, it's true.
Speculation's very fun. I did, didn't I? Okay, so here's the thing. Again, I think once you start to work your way through this, Tennessee fans did this with Alabama a couple of weeks ago. Tennessee got their ass kicked in the second half, not because of the officials. Like, blaming the officials is the dumbest, weakest, softest, laziest thing that anybody can do. Dallas Turner should have also been ejected.
The officials were bad.
And I think the officials
They're
need
bad
to
in every
be.
game. They really are. They're awful.
I think you're right.
Florida, Arkansas, they damn near cost them the game.
Well, how many Auburn, Arkansas games have been decided on bad calls by the refs? I mean, I agree with you. They need to be better. There is no question.
Georgia
about that.
was awful.
There was an awful call against Georgia too. I think that they are bad. They need to be publicly evaluated better, and they need to be paid full time. They need to increase the evaluation of them, make it public, make it transparent. There's lots of things we can do to make the refereeing better in our sport.
Should we be
no
refs?
argument
Maybe we can improve upon it.
Clearly, y'all don't fucking know shit.
I can't see very well, but I think I could do a better job than them.
I'd like to see Larry David ref a game. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. Me and cousin Shane out there.
Have old Latte Larry up there.
Yeah.
Just officiating. Okay. So I wanted to ask quickly last week, the end of some of these games and some of the quarterback issues, some of the decisions, because I do want, like the Florida game, we'll get to a sort of a temp check on some of these coaches, because these coaches are on this massive roller coaster. Sam Pittman, Billy Napier, Zach Arnett. There's a roller coaster of stuff. The end of the Florida game is absolutely comical to me. Isn't Graham Mertz correct? You have a first down with 8 seconds to go. Isn't the right play to have your quarterback line the offense up and spike the ball when the clock is stopped?
Brandon, I feel bad for these Florida fans that have to sit here and defend Billy Napier just because, and we all do it, when we got a coach that we want them to win and be successful. But my God, for a guy that's got an army of assistants and meticulous as hell, he does not know how to manage shit. I mean, and I don't know if you saw it after, but he's blaming it on a player because
that's not a good look.
Well, not only that, but he has to do that, Braden, because he has a special teams coordinator that's an analyst. That's not allowed to coach these guys during the game. So that's probably the guy that really made the issue, but he can't say that because then he's in violation of the rules. So who knows what the hell's going on? But this is every single game they have, and this was not the only miscue on special teams they had in this game. So it cost them the damn game with a PAT that they couldn't snap. One of Arkansas's field goals, they had 10 men on the field. But yeah, Graham Mertz is in the right. 8 seconds, you clock it, plenty of time.
And then you calmly walk your special teams out there and line up and kick a field goal with the clock stopped.
But that should have been a runoff. Right? That should have ended the regulation right there. They should not have gotten that field goal off.
No, I agree. And again, officials not being good doesn't mean they're on the take for a team, right? Like, officials can be better. We can say two things here.
Would you see what Sam Pittman said about it? I agree with him 100%. He said,
"No, he's right. The good Lord."
Someone made sure that field goal didn't go through it.
Yeah.
Justice was served.
If you believe in karma, the field goal missed on purpose. So, I mean, I just thought that it's coaching malpractice for whoever, to your point, whoever's in charge. You cannot when they set the ball, clocks like this. To me, this is football 101.
Mm-hmm.
The clock is about to start. The only way you have time to get your field goal unit on the field is if the clock is stopped. And Graham Mertz is the only way to make the clock stop. And Graham Mertz saw that. Graham Mertz knew what to do. And so I don't know.
It's pretty bad when,
by the way, congrats
to
Arkansas.
Better football IQ than your damn head coach.
Well, to your point, who knows who actually said special teams, who's yelling it on the sidelines. I agree. Their special teams have not been good the entire season, though. It's been bad. I imagine Napier, should they finish, which, by the way, they're going to finish right where we said they would finish in the preseason. What I imagine happens is they're going to have to hire an offensive coordinator. He's going to have to reduce his duties on game day, and he's going to have to fire and hire a new special teams coach. And as long as he recruits well, he's clearly going to get another year to fix this stuff and see what happens next season. And if they make major progress, a la Kirby Moore in Missouri, which is that's the exact same situation Missouri was in. Eli, no more play calling duties, hire a new offensive coordinator, keep recruiting, let's let you roll. And it's worked for Missouri. So it could absolutely work for Florida, but Turd Ferguson says it right. That point spread went from 6-3 the second Vegas saw those black uniforms. It was all the black uniforms. Vegas was like, that's worth 3 points right there, at least. Those uniforms are hideous. Absolutely hideous. They're not as bad as do you remember the Gator green ones that had the scales on them and stuff? Oh my God. Do you remember those?
Unfortunately, I do. I do recall those. They should wear those more often.
All right. You want to get into, and by the way, that's a really good win for Sam Pittman, a very important win for Sam Pittman to go on the road and win that game. And you and Steven were talking.
I thought you were referencing the buyout when you said that.
Are you
aware of what happened there with his buyout?
No, go ahead.
If he lost out, and I don't know if lost out. I think even FIU, if they just beat FIU, he would have a losing record as Arkansas's head coach. And the moment he's under 500, his buyout's cut in half. So by winning that, his buyout stays where it is now. So I mean, they could still fire him, but it would cost them a lot more. And the speculation out of Fayetteville that I was hearing was they didn't have the urgency, I guess, or I'm sure they can come up with money, but they didn't want to pay that full buyout. Essentially, is what I was told.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's plenty of big money donors for Arkansas.
That's just what the word was, and you're right. But to your point, a win like that cools a lot of that talk because he's he's not elite by any means, but he's a perfect fit for Arkansas. His success is always going to be defined by his coordinator hires, screwed up royally, and he made the necessary adjustment. And I don't know if this was what you were about to ask me, but I do want to ask you, what do you think KJ should do? Because
that is what I was going to ask you, because I heard you and Steven talking about it.
Yeah, and clearly he has not helped his stock this season, and I don't think that's his fault. I think it's the offensive line's fault, and obviously the former play caller. So,
well, he's the best thing about the offense. So I think every scout that watches that knows.
I mean, I still love him, but I just don't
he
think
was
he
never
helped himself.
He was not an NFL prospect, like a top flight NFL prospect before the season. He was like you take him in the 5th round because he's a great athlete, really talented, good kid, like smart guy. You take him in the 4th or 5th round, and then you see if you can develop him for a couple of years, and maybe he's a player, maybe he's not. I think that's always what he was going to be as a prospect. So now, and I think this is absolutely correct, if he can come back, and if Sam Pittman can keep him back, I think that's like beating Florida again. Like if you can win a couple more games.
I threw up the schedule here, Braden. You think they make a bowl this year?
Well, no, they're not going to win all 3. But if they win both, if they beat Auburn and FIU, I think Missouri is just really good. I told you in the summertime, dog.
What if Mizzou loses though to really Tennessee, and God forbid Florida?
I mean, maybe weird things happen in that Florida Missouri game.
Right.
I don't think they can win all 3. I guess it's possible. I would say that the most important thing, he's got to beat FIU, then he's got to pull one more upset, one of the other two. And if he can, especially this week at home against Auburn, who can't score any points at all, if you can do that and KJ like announces quickly after the season, like, hey, I'm coming back. However, you need to make the cash work to bring him back.
Let's not have Juracek bitch about it this time. Jesus.
I think you got to bring. If I'm Sam Pittman, I am making KJ Jefferson my number one priority. Absolutely, yeah. Tyler. NIL will matter to KJ to come back. By the way, KJ's big fashion guy. Get him a Nike contract, okay? Just get him a Nike contract. So I don't know. Otherwise, if he goes into the portal, he'd be one of the most sought after quarterbacks in the entire country. I could think of a few SEC teams that would want him. There's a guy he's playing this week.
Don't go to Auburn. Geez.
There's a coach he's playing this week that
don't
think
trash all the goodwill that you have. I mean, come back, be a legend.
I think there's the head coach he's playing this week that would threaten sexual assault survivors just to get KJ Jefferson out of the portal.
He would, but I wouldn't go play for that. The guy I got now versus that guy.
I wouldn't either.
Give me Sam Pittman. 10 out of 10.
All right, so we did a little heat check there on Napier, a little temp check on Pittman. What about Zach Arnett? 3 points. The most prolific passer in SEC history, and the offense cannot score 10 points in conference games. The only reason that there is a conversation around Zach Arnett and after 1 year of being the head coach is because of how he got the job. And that's it.
Well, I heard this. I didn't realize. Well, I guess we could have assumed it, but they are so far behind in NIL as well.
It's bad.
Which I guess, like I said, you could have assumed that, but I heard that today. And I don't know who's going to take that job. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, because I think Mississippi State is a proud tradition, and they have proven you get the right coach in there, you can win. But it's just getting tougher with Texas and Oklahoma coming in. It's just getting tougher in the transfer portal and NIL era. And when you're already the deck is stacked against you, you hear all these names. A lot of these guys, Tom Herman. But can you even get them? Can you get?
Yes, you can.
Kine, I think is his name, Texas State, who's got a fun offense. Can you get him?
Is that GJ Kinney? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know how to say his name, but
former Tulsa quarterback.
How about Lance Leopold? Like I don't think you can get a lot of these guys. I truly don't.
I don't think you can get Leipold there, because I think Leipold's going to have bigger opportunities. But people say this all the time, because you're absolutely correct that Mississippi State is the toughest job in the West, and it is probably in the new SEC. It's probably the 15th best job. I mean, Vanderbilt's worse, but it might be the worst job, or the quote unquote toughest place to win. But here's the difference this is what people don't know, and I'm not putting you in this group, but when people are like, oh, who wants the job? Think about what's the worst case scenario for being a head coach at South Carolina or Mississippi State or Arkansas. Chad Morris, Will Muschamp. What's the worst thing that happens? You get paid $8 million. You get paid $8 million over 2 years. You get fired, then you get $12 million to not coach. What's the worst thing that can happen? Oh, you made $20 million in 3 years?
Your reputation is in the toilet, and you never get a shot again. I mean,
where's Will Muschamp right now? He's got a ring on his finger.
Well, that's because his best friend's a head coach. You know what I mean? Like I don't think these guys. Friends. I don't think they think like that. Well, I'll just get bought out, and I'll be a damn joke. I think Chad Morris got fired from being a high school coach after just recently. You know what I mean? He's a damn joke. Now another thing that's got to be factored in that is. No one, I don't think has the answer to this, but they got a new AD who I could be completely wrong, but I don't think he's made a football hire. I don't know that for a fact, because I think he was like an assistant AD prior to getting this job. It's going to come down to who he can get, and maybe he's got connections, and maybe he'll hire someone elite, and I hope they do. But can you put faith in him who's never done it to land an elite coach,
Some ADs hire elite coach. I mean, this is like hiring a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator for the first time. Sometimes you hire Bob Stoops, and sometimes you hire Jeremy Pruitt. So, you just don't know. But I think you are undervaluing how how rare the job is to be a head coach at an SEC school. I think you're just generally undervaluing. Every coach thinks they're going to always win no matter where they go. So that they all think they can
How
win.
did it work for Joe Moorhead?
He made a fortune and he's still coaching. What I'm saying is that these jobs are so much better than you think they are, because every coach thinks they can win. You're going to make a fortune no matter what happens, and you think you're going to go in there and you're going to do the job. And that's why it's like South Carolina is an extremely difficult place to win, but it's a way better job than you think it is, because again, worst possible case scenario is you make millions of dollars to not coach there anymore. And your reputation, you're a punchline with like podcasts like this. You're not really like, these guys are all in the same coaching fraternity. They all know that they know ball, and they're all friends with each other, and they all get hired somewhere else. Like they almost all survive just fine. Like,
so where's Tom Herman right now? Is he at FAU?
FAU, yeah.
So if
Tom Herman would bathe in sulfuric acid to get the Mississippi State.
If he goes Mississippi State and he's fired in 2 years, he's never coaching again. Not enough.
No, it's not true.
In any capacity that's as a head coach at major college, he's done. His reputation's done.
Greg Schiano's bowl eligible. What are you talking about?
He's been
fired like 4 times.
Yeah, but it
keeps getting a job, and he keeps making money, and he keeps like I just think you're
that's completely irrelevant though. Rutgers, who now do Rutgers graduates watch Rutgers? You know what I mean? Like,
are there FAU fans anywhere?
I don't think so.
You're wrong about this. You're totally wrong about this.
I think a guy like Tom Herman's he wants to be a head coach that can win a national championship one day.
Well, but he's not good. He's not good enough to. If you're not good enough to win, because he's been at Texas and he wasn't good enough.
Right. Lane Kiffin was at Southern Cal and he wasn't good enough, and then he had to go to FAU. Now he's at Ole Miss. He's knocking at the door of, in a 12-team playoff era of being an annual playoff contender.
There are 14, soon to be 16 head coaching jobs in the world in the SEC. 16 jobs. That makes them one of the most rarest commodities in all of sports and business. And you make a fortune doing it, and every one of them thinks they can do it. And almost all of them land on their feet coaching somewhere else. Like these are just facts, dude. I'm not giving you opinions.
Where's Coach Hill at? Where's he coaching?
Well, I don't cover up sexual assault, dude. It's different. You can't use Coach.
Where's Jeremy Pruitt coaching?
Jeremy Pruitt is terrible.
Where's I can just keep going to Chad Morris. Where's he at?
You said he was fired from a high school coaching job. I hadn't seen that.
I believe so.
So what was his buyout? What do you make about $60 million?
Where's Brian Harsin coaching? Where's Matt Luke coaching?
Again, well, Matt Luke was an interim coach.
Where's Kevin Sumlin? I'm just going down the
list. Kevin Sumlin's getting DUIs.
That's what I'm saying. These people are ruined now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be ruined. I want to be the next, Josh Heupel.
Where is someone is at? Where is he at? He's like a coordinator up at like one of the Big Ten schools or something like that. But that proves my point. Like these guys all end up. Like Dan Mullen is just sitting back waiting for whatever job he wants. He could be an offensive coordinator at a bunch of different places. He might be able to get he could get a head coaching job at a certain level of school. Hell, Mississippi State is probably already called him. So I'm just saying, like, these guys that get fired from these jobs, I don't feel sorry for them. My bleeding heart does not go out to any of these guys that make millions of dollars and then get fired.
How about Rich Rod? I'd like Rich Rod.
Yeah, Rich Rod's won at big jobs. He got fired from Arizona for malpractice and inappropriate conduct. And then guess what? He's a head coach again and almost beat South Carolina.
No, I'm saying for Mississippi State. That'd be a good hire.
Yeah, sure. I just don't want my daughter to go work in his office,
That's true.
That's true. That's true. I like it when you just give me a that's true. Let me ask you a question about Brian Kelly. Yeah, Butch Jones, awful, by the way, at Tennessee. Most football coaches, I hate to break this to people, but most football coaches they just get promoted beyond the point of competency. That's just what happens. Most of them just keep working and they keep getting promoted because they do a good job. And then when they get to the point where they're not good enough to be at that level, they get fired and they go back to doing the job again. That's what happens.
I wonder, can we get that job?
I wish. Dude, I worked with Houston Nutt for 3 years, and all he told me about was the buyout. Dude, I'm living that buyout life, Braden. We're just riding around. We're just riding around Austin, Texas, and Baton Rouge doing interviews, and he's just playing Michael Jackson on his phone with size 57 font on his phone, going like, "Braden, I just living that buyout life, dog."
I think that's him though, trying to make peace with it, because I've heard other interviews, man, where he said I should have listened to Fulmer, and he told him the advice he gave him was get back in as soon as you can, because if you miss that window, it's gone.
No, I agree with that, but my point is that he is a very happy person.
Yeah,
he is a genuinely.
Oh, I would imagine that's a much better life that
he's a happy guy
living these wars in the SEC. Where
Houston Nutt's never had a bad day, right. not even while he's filing a lawsuit against his former employer.
Still, I mean, just look at like Sam Pittman and Shane Beamer, who 6 months ago these fans would die for, and then they're, not all of them, but can't coach, get them the hell out of here. I mean, it's a rough life, I would think.
No, I don't think so. These are grown adult men who know exactly what jobs they're getting themselves into, and they're getting paid millions of dollars to do it. They understand. This is what I don't like about coaches complaining about the amount of work. Oh, the transfer portal. I've got to manage my roster a little bit more difficultly. I got to work harder. There's a million. Go be a different job, dude. You don't have to be a football coach in college football. You don't have to make millions of dollars to do this. There's a million other jobs you can go do. I don't give a shit about how tough your life is if you choose to be a football coach. I don't care.
I'm glad I have empathy,
I have empathy. I have empathy for the players.
We need one of them.
I have empathy for the players.
Oh, okay.
And I have empathy for people who put their body on the line for very little money. I don't have empathy for the highest paid person complaining about having to do more work. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Okay, let me ask you about Brian Kelly. I want to ask you about Brian Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to take the LSU job because he wanted to recruit from a slightly bigger pond. Notre Dame can't recruit in the same pond that LSU can, or Alabama or Texas A&M or Georgia, Ohio State. It's the reason Notre Dame's been very, very, very good, but hasn't been able to win the biggest game against the best teams because they don't have the best players. LSU is supposed to be the place where he can get the best players. He's done a good job recruiting. I am curious. I mean, he's got a quarterback who's playing at the highest possible level. I know it's only year 2, but this is a guy who's been around for like 15 years at the highest level in college football. This is not like Billy Napier, who's never proven himself at the Power 5 level. This is a guy who's proven. But he's proven to be a 11-1, 10-2 coach. I just am curious if Brian Kelly has that next gear. And I don't know. I think very highly of Brian Kelly. I think he's a very good football coach. It's going to take him getting his own players in there, but can he beat Kirby Smart and Nick Saban consistently every single year? I have the same question about Josh Heupel. I'm curious about the ceiling for Brian Kelly. What's your perspective?
Are we burying a guy who won a division in his first year?
No, I'm not burying him. I'm asking about his ceiling. I said a lot of very positive things about Brian Kelly.
And who has he lost to? 3 top 10 teams? And any of those at home?
He's lost 7 times.
No, this season. I'm just talking this season.
Okay, well, he's lost 7 games.
That's what matters.
He's lost 7 games in 2 years.
He's lost at Alabama. He's lost at Ole Miss, and he's lost Florida State on in Orlando.
All very good teams.
Yeah. No, I mean, can he compete with the greatest of all time and the greatest right now? I mean,
that's what I'm asking.
I don't know if anybody can. So,
but that's what he's hired to do, right?
Yeah, I think that's what they're all hired to do, and they're all going to fail because they don't have the players that those two have, because those are probably the 2 best recruiters in college football, modern college football history. So, I think Brian Kelly's win as much as them. He may win 1 national title, but he's not going to win multiple like those guys have already proven they can.
No, look, the last 2 coaches to coach at LSU won a national championship, and they're both complete knucklehead bozos. So if Coach O and Les Miles can win a national championship, then I assume Brian Kelly can. So the answer is I think he absolutely can. I'm just curious if it's worth asking the question or not. I think very highly of Brian Kelly. I think he's a very good coach.
I mean, I think the odds I would bet against all of them to do it, or none of them in the SEC. I don't know. It's just, I think Texas can. I don't know if Sarkisian can. I don't have full confidence in him.
I think it's a great. I think putting Sarkisian with Kelly and Heupel, and those 3. Yeah. Hugh Freeze is another one. Hugh Freeze has never been elite at coaching. He's beaten Bama a couple times, but he's lost to Memphis too. Hugh Freeze has never been elite. Brian Kelly's been much, much better than Hugh Freeze. Steve Sarkisian is, I think, more in the Josh Heupel territory.
I think we got to throw Lane into that conversation as well.
I think that
he's been quite excellent.
I think he's limited by his location, though.
Yeah,
I mean, Tennessee and LSU win national.
Rating the jobs, I'm rating the coaches, but I think he's got to be there.
But I guess my point is, wouldn't he need to be at a bigger program to be?
Yeah, that's why he almost left for Auburn.
Exactly,
because he knew the track record. You can win it all there.
Yep, you can win it. You can win it. I'm talking about coaches at national championship caliber programs, blue bloods that have the pedigree to do it. Ole Miss is unfortunately not there. Auburn is, LSU is, Tennessee is, and Texas is. And I think it's fair to ask. I think Lincoln Riley is another one at USC. James Franklin at Penn State. These are all guys that are very, very good at premier jobs that haven't gotten through, that haven't broken through. Now, Heupel's different because he's only been there a couple of years.
And what about how come you're not mentioning Jimbo? I mean,
he's already got the ring, but I think we've already kind of established that Jimbo is Jimbo's already hit the ceiling, big guy. I think he's hit his head on the ceiling multiple times.
Yeah.
Like here, you know what's so funny? The thing I think about too, watching that game against Ole Miss, which was one of the best football games of the year, by the way. Like, credit to Max Johnson for the beating that motherfucker took. He was so tough in that game and kept getting up, and they kept coming back. Give credit to Ole Miss for what that was awesome. That was just a totally enjoyable football game. Like, Texas A&M is not bad. like they don't have their starting quarterback. They were down their starting running back. They're one of their best defensive players punches a guy in the nuts and he's kicked out of the game. And they still almost win. Like, they're not bad, but they're not good either.
They got a loaded roster. I'll tell you that.
I think he is infinitely he's just going to be 9-3, 8-4 the rest of his life. Like, he's just 8-4 the rest of his life. And
when has he been 8-4? Has he ever done that at A&M?
Probably do it this year. Well, he's been better than 8-4. He's 9-1 one year. So, yeah, yes, Bo, we need Mike Elko back. I agree.
I think they're going to go 7-5. You think they're going to beat LSU?
They did it last year with a worse team against a better LSU team. LSU can't stop air, man. It's bad. MIZ, baby. That's right. Speaking of you want to talk Missouri?
Can't win a road game though.
What do you want me to say about Jimbo Fisher?
That he's 7-5.
Okay, that's factually untrue right now, but it's possible.
No, that he will be.
Okay, he might be 7-5. All that matters is that he can't win a national championship at Texas A&M.
What if he loses to Mississippi State this weekend with no Max Johnson
as a 19-point favorite? That'd be bad.
It would be.
Again, they're not bad. Like, it takes a pretty decent football team to do what they did with your backup quarterback on the road against Ole Miss last week. Like, that was fun shit to watch. That was a good game.
No, that was a great game.
It was fun. It was like good players on both teams. But Texas A&M should be better.
Yep, they lose every toss-up.
They don't. It's the culture, dude. Our magazine said it. Athlon Sports said it. Our anonymous coaching report said it. You can see it on television. Their culture is bad. And then they brought in coaches that are just all bad culture people. I don't understand.
Perfect.
I don't understand.
Two negatives make a positive, don't they?
That's what I tell my kids. I tell my kids that all the time. When they're fighting, I'm like, you punched her? Oh, you punched her back? Oh, now we're good then. Okay. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. Missouri, Tennessee. Let's get to that game because it's by far the best game of the season, of the weekend. And it absolutely will begin to define both of their seasons. Tennessee has Georgia next week at home. I think Tennessee is capable of winning both games. I think Tennessee is capable of losing both games. I think Missouri is capable of winning out. I think Missouri is capable of losing multiple games. I think both of their seasons could depend on this game in terms of how we view them long-term, big picture. Like, they're both programs headed clearly in a great direction, in the right direction with the right guys in the right positions. And big picture, that's great for both of them. But whoever, like, 10-win season, this is the game. This is the game for both of them. And Tennessee is a 1-point favorite on the road, so Vegas is telling you it's perfectly even. I think if Missouri plays its regular game, they are the better football team.
Wait, this is a better game than Vanderbilt at South Carolina, you think?
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a good one. I mean, Tennessee's whooped them the last couple years, but
they own the series.
Missouri's a lot better than they ever have been, clearly. So, yeah, it's gonna be a wild game. I think, I think Missouri's better.
I think they are too.
But Joe Mentum, his friend, has coined. I'm not allowed to say his name. Joe
not
Mentum
allowed to say his name.
Has allowed. It's unlocked something in Tennessee that they found their identity, and now that they got Joe Milton's willing to run the football, it just makes it that much tougher to defend, and it's for whatever reasons open up the passing game.
Tennessee's offensive evolution is as important to the future of the program as anything I've seen all season from the Volunteers. Josh Heupel's ability to evolve his offense and make players better based on switching the schemes slightly in one way or the other, I think that is a huge, huge thing to prove to people in the conference. You got to be able to do that, and I think it's a big deal that he's showing that he can do it. Josh Heupel, that is.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, if they both play up to their best game, I think I would take Tennessee, but they've only won one road game, right, this entire year. And Kentucky, I don't think is very good. So
they both played about the same against Kentucky. Honestly, Missouri was probably a little bit better. They both were in Lexington.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri got down early, but then went on like a 38-7 run or something like that.
Right.
Tennessee kind of got up and just like stayed up the whole time. It's like
I think it's going to be a 4-quarter. It's going to come down to a field goal or something.
I think it's one big mistake, one turnover. I just thought I was so impressed with how Missouri, composure-wise, handled itself against Georgia. None of those, like, you go get a D2 running back, and he's like not scared at all of Georgia. I love the way that they play the game, Missouri. Like Brady Cook, totally composed. They're all composed.
I think Tennessee needs to be concerned about these receivers, though, because I think they could dominate them. I really do. So they're going to have to get after Brady Cook, and
I agree with that.
He's not one that gets rattled, really, because hell, the fans are out on his that. It's hard to get rattled after that when they want you benched and everything. Now you're a hero. So this is going to be a Brady Cook game. What does he do? Because he's going to be under pressure, I would think, all because I think that's Tennessee's only shot to stop him.
If they both play their best game, I think I might lean towards Tennessee, to your point. If they both play their regular game, I think Missouri's the better football team, like their standard sort of this is what they are each week. But I think Tennessee's gotten better as the season has gone along. The question for Missouri is are we motivated by what we did last week against Georgia, or is there a letdown after what we did against Georgia? And I think that's a really complicated – that's Eli Drinkwitz's job.
I think the risk of a letdown is significantly low because last year Tennessee ran up the score on them.
I mean, they've had Tennessee in the brain for a while. I agree.
So I mean, how can you overlook a team that did that?
I think it is human nature to exhale when your chance of winning a championship are done. I think it's human nature for 18 to 22-year-olds to take a breath. And so what makes Nick Saban the greatest of all time and what makes Kirby the greatest right now is the ability to remove the human element from the game, is to make the 18 to 22-year-old compete at his highest level at all times. That is what makes the greatest coaches truly great. And so if Missouri plays its best game, I don't think Tennessee is going to play its best game. I think they're going to play a good game. And I think overtime is absolutely possible. I'll take Missouri at home to win outright, I think. But if they are not there mentally, Tennessee has messed with this program for a long time. So it's going to be an awesome game. It's going to be a great game.
Tennessee is certainly heating up.
I think Tennessee is very dangerous.
I think you got to, discount UConn because they're so awful. But I'm thinking more about the last two road games at Alabama and at Tennessee. I know they lost, and then at Kentucky, I thought they would lose to Kentucky. I don't know.
Missouri is going to try a new strategy this weekend by covering receivers for Tennessee. That's what they're going to try.
That's
that
bold.
This weekend.
That'd be bold.
Jim Mora didn't think they should do that. Jim Mora said, we're going to try something new at UConn, and we're just not going to cover anybody and see what happens. Didn't work, but that's what it was.
How many snaps does Nico get in this one?
Dude, I saw him running. I saw him running and tripping all over himself, and I thought about you.
He looked great, didn't he? That touchdown.
He does have some skill, man. He just needs to eat a few pork chops, but man, he's got some skill. All right, so I got Tennessee. I'll take Missouri at home, but I have no idea. Mississippi at Georgia, Ole Miss at Georgia. I've been pointing to this one all season as the game that I'm worried about if I'm Georgia. Vegas agrees. This is the lowest point spread of the season for the Georgia Bulldogs. 10 points at home. They basically won the East last week. They're going to be looking ahead maybe to a road trip to Tennessee. Quidshot Junkins, can they run the ball on Georgia? Cody Schrader did to some degree. Brady Cook certainly did with his legs. We know Jackson Dart does a lot of that same stuff. This is an interesting spot here for Ole Miss against Georgia.
If I may correct you, if Ole Miss wins this and Tennessee beats them next week, Tennessee wins the East.
There you go.
So the East is not yet clinched.
Now here's
probably
the question.
Will be Saturday, but
they will know. They will know though, because the Tennessee game. Well, maybe it's not kicked off yet because the Tennessee Missouri game's at 3:30 and the Ole Miss game's at 7. So they may not know the outcome of the Tennessee game at that point. But if Tennessee loses, then I believe if they win, they clinch. But my point is that they've beaten Florida, they've beaten Missouri. They're halfway through this stretch. They weren't challenged at all by Florida. I think the game last week against Missouri played out exactly how we thought. Missouri's pretty damn good, going to be in the game for most of the game, but Georgia just kind of is just a little bit better the whole time. Like it never really felt like they were going to lose. Missouri's red zone defense, give them a lot of credit. Carson Beck got down there a lot, and then they held him to field goals. Can Ole Miss do that? I don't know.
Yeah. How about your point though to human nature, yada yada. Let down all that. I don't think there's any expectations for Ole Miss to win this game. So it's a little bit different for them. It's like the complete opposite of Missouri after losing, and Missouri trying to win the East. I mean, they're not. Ole Miss can't. I shouldn't say can't, but 99% will not win the West because Bama would have to lose to Kentucky and Auburn, and they still have to beat Georgia.
Doesn't that work against Ole Miss though, or is that? Are you saying they play free and confident and fast?
They got nothing to lose.
No pressure.
They lose by 100. It doesn't matter.
No, dude. I think this is I've been pointing to this game the entire season as like there's a 4-game stretch. They're going to play 2 physical games or tough games. One of them wasn't as tough. Florida, Missouri was. You don't have Brock Bowers. You're looking ahead to Tennessee. Vegas agrees. Vegas says that Ole Miss plays its best game. Georgia plays one of its worst games. It's a 10-point spread. Like that. That's the lowest point spread of the year because Vegas is telling you they think Ole Miss is going to play pretty well in this game. So I agree with you.
Let me ask you this though, because this kind of this may go against what I was just saying, but I don't think this wouldn't be the mindset that they'll have at all. But if Ole Miss does the unthinkable and wins, and they finish out strong, and they finish 11-1. And they don't go to the SEC championship and chaos ensues, could Ole Miss? I think they'd be deserving. I mean, I don't know. It depends on who's there, but I wouldn't put them over any undefeated teams, I guess. But I have to imagine that the best win of the season at Georgia, I think they're a playoff team or borderline playoff team.
Well, where are they? I mean, I don't give a shit about the playoff rankings right now, but if they were to beat Georgia as the number, let's call it 9 team, right? In the rankings, you're probably jumping to 5 as a 1-loss team. Now you're boxed out by Bama, unfortunately. So if Bama beats Georgia, Bama gets in. Ole Miss maybe doesn't.
Right. Let's say they don't. Let's say they lose to Georgia.
And Georgia takes 1 spot. The question is almost always the answer to these questions is almost always what happens around the country, and generally there is chaos. We rarely have more than 1 or 2 undefeated teams, if that. So maybe one Big Ten team is undefeated. Maybe Florida State is. The Pac-12 champion right now could be, but I doubt it. So the question is, how many losses are there coming? Oregon and Washington still have to maybe rematch. Both of them have to play rivalry games at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State and Michigan play this week, so that's a potential. That's one more loss, eliminates one of those two teams potentially, and then Ohio State, Michigan have to play. Florida State's the one that's got the clear path. Texas is a team that I don't trust to win any time at any point in any game, but they could. We say this every year around this time of year. Man, look at all these games. Look, all these teams are going to get in. There's going to be controversy, and then almost all of them end up losing. I think Oregon is it's funny. Justin says they need Oregon to lose again. That's probably true, but Oregon's the team that I think is most dangerous. I think Oregon was better. I think they're better than Washington. I think they beat Washington in a rematch in the Pac-12 title game. So if they can figure out a way to finish the season without another loss, and they get Washington in the Pac-12 title game, I think they win that game. I think Oregon is very dangerous. I think Oregon has a better chance to make the playoff than Texas does.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't watch those garbage teams, but
maybe you should watch really good football.
I do every Saturday in the SEC.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Auburn, South Carolina, Florida.
I love watching those games.
Okay,
I would choose those over Ohio State, Michigan, any day of the week.
Stop. It's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that the SEC is clearly far and away the greatest conference that's ever existed based on stats, facts, and every other metric you can possibly throw on the planet, and also enjoy watching Washington and Oregon. It's okay. You can do both.
Well,
I've seen you walk and chew gum at the same time. I've seen it. I know you can do it.
Oh, because I look at this as
any man that wears that hat on a podcast.
This is my livelihood. I got to know what's going on at Mississippi State and Kentucky. You know, I don't give a two shits what happens at Oregon. They could be the best team in the country. I don't watch them.
Okay,
but I know we train their quarterback. If not for us training their quarterback, they'd be garbage. That's what I have to say.
Sure,
He was committed. He was committed to Tennessee.
No. See, you missed your chance. No, you missed it.
They coached him up.
You missed it. They not only trained Oregon's quarterback, they also built the head coach too.
Exactly, and we'll steal him back when we have an opening. You
know who might take the Mississippi State job? Dan Lanning might take the Mississippi State job.
It'd be an upgrade over Oregon.
No, it wouldn't. But you cannot say that nobody would take the Mississippi State job and then say the guy who's at one of the best jobs in the West Coast, that, by the way, is now going to be in the Big Ten, is not going to be good. So Oregon's awesome. Oregon's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's one of the few places outside of the SEC that kind of feels like the SEC. It's pretty cool. How about Florida LSU not being an important football game at all?
Oh, I think it's very important, because if Florida does not win, they may not go to a bowl game. You know,
so they're right where we said they were going to be, 5-7.
And it's complicated matters if Jaden Daniels is not in the lineup. And you were saying it there. You know, what is Brian Kelly? I mean, this will show us a little bit of who Brian Kelly is, particularly if his quarterback can't play, his elite quarterback that should still be a Heisman candidate, even though he got injured. I don't think that's nonsensical. But, you know, when you're not saying he's a bad coach, but you're questioning, you know, how far can he take his team?
I think he's a very good coach.
How can you get this team up after a devastating loss? Because we've seen that from Les Miles and Coach O. Or, you know, you lose this Alabama game, you don't show up the next week. It happens time after time. Now, is this a different story? So, yeah, there's a lot of intrigue for that one for me, because and you know, as much as it doesn't
mean anything in the division race.
It means everything.
All I meant.
It means everything, Braden. Because as much as I bag Billy Napier, these are the games where it seems like he does show up and he does win, and then you circle the wagons and you say, "By God, we're building something special." So
I will say it's funny. I've talked to Booger McFarland about this, like how we're gonna have like if we go to the 3 and 6 scheduling model, where you're gonna have the 3 guaranteed opponents. Like a lot of LSU people will tell you, like Florida's not one of their top 3. Like we want Alabama, we want Texas A&M. LSU is a way better rivalry. And then people don't realize how deeply that one runs. A&M and LSU runs, that I-10 rivalry runs back decades in like baseball, and it's about transplants from Katrina. Like LSU people will tell you, at least they told me, that Florida's not the game that they value as far as a protected rival goes. And what's interesting is that it's still the game that has the weirdest shit happen all the time.
Right.
Like this is the one of the weirdest games that ever happened. So I like while I'm watching it, because I think I love watching all SEC games, and I think there's a lot of intrigue for the coaches. I agree with you. It means literally nothing in the standings, is all I'm saying. That's just a fact. So it means a lot for the coaches and for the fans. It should be fun. Vegas is telling you that it believes in Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier if he's the starting quarterback. 14-point spread at home. What does Florida have up its sleeve? Graham Mertz has been effective, and LSU's defense sucks. So,
do you have any idea? I don't know if you've looked this up. The all-time series between those two, what it's at?
I would guess it's pretty even since '92, especially since they started playing every year.
Yeah, all time it's 33 apiece.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty cool.
This game does mean something, Brady. It means all-time supremacy. And how about this? I shared this as well.
All-time supremacy. Like the LSU, players have any clue that matters.
LSU has won 4 in a row over Florida. They've never won 5 in a row. So this could be
nice.
Nice. This game's got so much on the line, Braden. That's ridiculous, these comments that you're making, but I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this.
It is factually irrelevant to the standings. That's not.
I don't go by standings.
I didn't say it wasn't interesting.
Ball on Saturday. That's all that matters to me.
All right, so you're taking LSU to win. You're taking Tennessee to win on the road.
No, because I don't even know who's
you're taking
Georgia.
You're taking Ole Miss to win it on the road against Georgia. You're taking Texas A&M with a third-string quarterback to lose to Mississippi State at home as a 19-point favorite, is what I've heard, and that you're really only watching Vanderbilt and South Carolina, is what I've heard.
This is all erroneous information. I've made no selections.
You're picking Kentucky at home. By the way, you want to talk about an interesting point spread. Oh, boy.
And Devin Leary may not even play.
10.5 points, that's it? That's it?
I mean, Vegas is just telling you what I've been telling everybody. I mean, Alabama is not
begging you to take
elite.
Alabama.
They're not. They get down in all these games. Then they make the necessary adjustments because they got an elite coach. But they're not a national championship team.
They're just likable, man. That's all.
Yeah, they're a scrappy underdog, I guess.
It's the most.
Give them all the noon kickoffs on the road. Give them all the marquee games at home.
No, Justin. We talked about Arkansas and Auburn. We talked about the winner gets KJ Jefferson next year. We talked about that.
Yeah, it better not be Auburn then.
I will say though, to their point, that game has also been batshit crazy for like the last 5 years. Like the refs have been bad in that game almost every year. But yes, I agree, Jim. Take the under for Arkansas and Auburn. I'm with you on that one. What's the over/under on completed forward passes?
Arkansas's cooking now, man. We got a new OC.
Oh, yeah?
We're gonna be throwing all over the yard on Auburn. So, over/under completed passes, it's probably 22.
God, in 2023. Okay,
I'll smash that over.
Just hammer the over. KJ Jefferson with 17 completions and Auburn with 5. All right, we got to 20. We got to 23. All right.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge game too, man.
Going back to this Bama Kentucky game is sneaky. We should have brought it up earlier, and that's my fault. But that point spread caught me off guard when I saw it. Kentucky's defense. The Devin Leary comments from Stoops are really interesting. Like, oh, he couldn't read. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
But now he can. Now he can read. It's okay. Now he's fine.
He got back. He put his spectacles back on.
Yeah, he can read now. He couldn't read his wristbands. So we had to take him out.
But they can't run the ball. If Kentucky can't run, they can't do anything.
No, they won't be able to beat. But again, I assume what Vegas is telling you is that Kentucky's defense is going to play pretty well at home. They are coming off their best, most complete performance of the season. Granted, it's against Mississippi State, but they have struggled in Starkville, and that was their most complete performance of the season. So you got to give them some credit for that. But if like your starting quarterback's banged up and
wait,
I don't know.
They scored 14 points. That was their most complete performance.
Well, no, it was 24-3.
So. Right, but seven of that was pick six.
You want to try the math again, big guy?
So 7, yes. I mean 17. That's not a complete performance.
Was it their most complete performance of the season? Offense, defense on the road against the team that they struggle with normally.
Definitely Florida, wasn't
it? Probably, but that was at home. And the defense. Okay, that's fair.
I think Mississippi State is just so bad.
No, I'll give it to you. Here's how. Here, you want to see how this is done? This is done, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wrong. You're right. See how that works?
Yeah, well, I already knew that before you even said anything.
You're obviously not married.
No, definitely not. Definitely
You're
not.
obviously not married. Okay. Oh man.
Stoops going to Mississippi State, according to Mr. Turd Ferguson.
I do like this condiment is made from mustard seed. More likely to lose, Georgia or Alabama this weekend?
Georgia.
Exact same point spread. Bama on the road. Exact same point spread. Bama on the road, coming off a emotional win.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I agree with you.
I'm just going to pick Alabama to dominate. Maybe that'll flip it and they'll finally lose. You know what I mean? So,
well, you've been so right about Bama all year.
I've actually only been wrong one game. Or only pick against them once.
Well, but the dynasty is clearly decaying. Undefeated in the SEC.
I certainly think it is. Yeah, I mean that's
undefeated.
Haven't
lost the game all year.
They lost to Texas
in the SEC. Listen,
I don't think winning a West is a dynasty, but maybe they changed what a dynasty means. While Georgia's dominating the sport, but they're a dynasty.
They like it rough, just the way your mother likes it, Trebek. I think if they go undefeated in conference and they go 8-0 in the SEC and they play in the SEC championship game, exactly like I predicted. And many of us, most of us at Media Days, picked Alabama to win the West and to play in the SEC title game and to lose. The prediction, this is the same thing with Florida. The prediction on Florida was 5-7 in 6th place. The prediction on Bama was 1st place in the West, lose to Georgia and Atlanta. That's the prediction. So if they do exactly what everyone thought about them, except for people who thought the dynasty was over, as long as Nick Saban is coaching, that dynasty ain't going anywhere. So.
I guess a dynasty means something different to some people. When your chief rivals won 3 natties in a row.
Was when the Patriots didn't win a Super Bowl for a few years, was like their dynasty over?
I don't really watch NFL, so that's a bad analogy, but yeah, I guess so.
But why? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Because their chief rival is the better team. A dynasty is you are the team. Alabama's not the team.
But not every year. Alabama hasn't done that every year. Georgia hadn't done that every year. They've done it twice. Oh, Tyler, I don't have a gambling slip for under 5.5. I just their Vegas total, where they were predicted in the preseason magazine, our magazine at Athlon Sports, and in the and in the preseason media predictions.
Yeah,
they were predicted to be 5 or 6 wins and to be 6th place in the SEC. Like that, I just mean in general, that's where they were predicted to finish. They were not predicted to finish any higher really than that.
I have receipts.
I'm sure somebody did. But
I made graphics for all those, and it was definitely Billy Napier's face with 5.5 next to it.
So you have like an actual receipt?
Yeah, I do.
I do. So the Tennessee bet is that it's going to be decided this weekend. You know that, right? Our bet about Tennessee is going to be decided this weekend.
Yep, and you were wrong again.
Hey, if they beat Missouri and Georgia, you will win the bottle of whiskey from me. If they lose to one of them, you will not.
I like them then. We've been collecting bourbon over here. We got 5 bottles this week.
What you got? I got a Russell's 10-year barrel pick. How about that? Let me grab it real fast.
Sure. We got Eagle Rare was the first one we got.
Eagle Rare's all right.
Russell's.
Check that out. And I actually got to go with the liquor store to go help pick it out and like do the tasting and stuff. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. This is spectacular.
And where's that come from?
It's Wild. You mean like the distillery?
Yes, sir.
It's from Wild Turkey. Russell's 10 years from Wild Turkey, but this is a private selection barrel pick you can only get at Sinker's Beverages in Nashville.
Nice. Apparently Stoops has got some bourbon. Someone sent us that. I graded it as a C bourbon.
Well, Peyton Manning's got some bourbon too, and it's terrible.
No, it's actually pretty good. But
for $220, it's not.
No. The one they sent us. I think it's called
Stoops?
like RH something, RB. I don't know.
The Stoop stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that dude likes him some bourbon, man. And,
Right.
if you're going to be the winningest head coach in Kentucky history, you better be a bourbon aficionado.
Well, it's called RD1 is what it's called.
Yeah, I believe it. I bet you Stoops knows him some good bourbon. He likes him some bourbon at the end of the night. That's for sure.
Bo says he'll send us some if we stop picking A&M. I haven't picked A&M in a while, man.
Mississippi State on the road, 19-point underdog, outright on the show. I'll take anything. I'll take any brown water you got, Bo.
You're picking Mississippi State?
Yeah. Well, Bo just told me to. He'll send me some whiskey if we do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. I think we're long overdue here. Thank you guys for hanging out as usual. For all of Mike's ridiculous takes and all of my amazing takes. I've been right pretty much the whole season, so I bet that will continue. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for listening. That SEC podcast, 440 Sports. We do appreciate you guys. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you next week.